I came across a little article that was stating that the sun is coming to its solar maximum. So every 11 years or so, there's a flip in its magnetic field. And sometimes there's solar minimums and sometimes there's solar maximums. Right now, what we have occurring is a solar maximum, which means the sun's very alive. So it's going to have solar flares and things like that going on. And what happens out there definitely affects us here. Now, when I was just trying to research this subject a little bit, I was thinking to myself, could that affect our environment here? Which I would logically think so. And when I say environment, I mean climate specifically, because right now, as we're heading at the beginning of 2025, I feel like the winter is very different. It's very dry, and where I live in Southern California, it's very windy. And when I used a lot of AI just trying to investigate this topic, which climate change is a very touchy subject in general, it really said that such like mass ejections have very minor effects on our weather, which I kind of don't believe. It says it's an insignificant amount of a degree in Celsius that it would affect our weather. So instead of being like, let's say during the summer, it's going to be 95, it's going to be 95.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So theoretically, that's kind of what they're saying, although I don't necessarily believe it. With these type of events, when the sun's really alive, we have things like geostorms, wars, revolutions that have happened historically. And, considering we're in a very technologically advanced age, such things could really affect our satellites and communication and infrastructure. There is an important event that happened in our past, not too long ago actually, though we weren't as technologically advanced as we are now, called the Carrington event, which happened in September of 1859. It really created a lot of geostorms that affected our communications, mainly telegraphs that we were using back then, but there were noticeable things that happened as far south as the Caribbean and Hawaii, and that's auroras were seen that far south, which is an amazing thing. But again, that happens because of the disturbance in the magnetic field. What happened during a solar maximum that was really interesting is fascism was introduced and being developed. In 1912, there was the Great October Revolution, and communism took over Poland as well during a solar maximum. So it's really interesting, like revolutionary ideas and things happening within our recent civilization. And now, of course, more recently, like if we bring it to the now, we have Trump taking office in a few days, which, there's a lot of people that hate that, a lot of people that want to cause civil unrest because of that. And then there's other extremes of that are all gung-ho, thinking we're going to change the world. I hope something good comes of this because we need a change politically, which hopefully would affect the world globally, right? I mean, America's always has interests and investments and weird hands and fingers in places it shouldn't have. But the main thing we really need to address is things here at home. I mean, we just saw what happened with the fires in Southern California, the Pacific Palisades fire and the Eaton fire that just devastated areas just from fire and wildlife, but it's also going to have a long-term economic impact. And I really think this is just a little taste of what's to come. I really think there's going to be a lot of chaos that happens this year. It's going to be economic, it's going to be political, it's going to be social. And I think there's been a huge setup for all of this accumulating. Anyways, I just wanted everybody to become aware that, our sun is hit its 11-year cycle where the magnetic poles shift for the sun. And it's created a very lively and active sun right now that I think is going to have a lot of effects on what's happening here. I'm not talking about astrological effects, so I don't want to talk pseudoscience. And again, I wouldn't discount that stuff as being important in having some practicality and importance in everybody's daily life. But what I am talking about is if our sun's this lively and our winter already feels a little bit different, I wonder what's going to happen when and if there's a mass solar ejection that just affects all the satellites out there. I think it would be really interesting to hear from Elon Musk on subjects like this, like having a solar maximum right now and how it would affect his satellites. Anyways, just wanted to share a little interesting tidbit that I came across, and maybe you guys could do your own research and just be aware and observant of what's going on this year and see how it affects us. At the very least, I think it would be beautiful if the auroras came all the way down to the equator and we could all enjoy something so uniquely beautiful.